Welcome back to another video. It was a pretty good week overall for tankers. And again, there are some tailwinds that I believe will push the stock prices of these oil tankers higher in the coming months and years. So we're going to go over those today, as well as some technical analysis of NAT and Frontline. Okay, so again, NAT was up over the week by about 8%, including a pretty big move on March 10th to March 11th of close to 11%. So that's some very exciting news. And again, the main reason for this is, well, for one, the Baltic Clean Tanker Index was up by 5.2%, and the Baltic Dirty Tanker Index was up by 4%. Okay, and this is in general seen as optimism for the oil tanker market as the rates are improving and there's more demand for oil and oil transport. Let's again go right into the weekly tanker rates by Clarkson's Plateau Shipbroking. Thank you again for providing this. And I mean, we see in general positive results. It's nice to see that for Suezmax vessels, as compared to year to date this week, the spot rates were higher. Of course, there's going to be regional fluctuations in the spot rates for oil tankers. And this week happened to be above the 2021 year to date spot rates, which was 7,400. And one thing that I am noticing is that Aframax in general is doing very nicely in terms of its spot rates. And just for clarification, Aframax holds basically half as much of oil as a Suezmax and a quarter as much of oil as a VLCC. But right now in the spot market, an Aframax is costing companies $15,500 to store their oil on an Aframax vessel versus only $2,100 for a VLCC carrier, which stores 4 times the amount of oil. So I think this may reflect a general trend towards these small companies putting oil on Aframax vessels because they don't have much oil to transport and transporting them relatively short distances. Okay, so if you don't have as much oil to transport, you're going to pay for an Aframax versus a VLCC because VLCC carries 2 million barrels of oil. This guy carries 500,000 barrels of oil. Okay, so I think that's generally maybe the reason why. I could be totally wrong. It's just pure speculation, but it's just interesting to see. And then Suezmax is in the middle between VLCC and Aframax right now. Okay. And I mean, if you're going historically, usually VLCC, which is this dark blue line, way outperforms Suezmax and Aframax rates, okay? But as we can see now, of course, the light blue and red, which are Aframax and Suezmax, are outperforming VLCC carriers in terms of their spot rates, all right? And 2021 year to date, again, not looking good compared to previous years, but again, a lot of people, as we can see in the NAT, Frontline, and EURN stock prices are expecting the so-called Supercycle, where there's a drastic increase in the spot rates of these tanker carriers, okay? And so here's my bullish thesis. I think that this is going to continue. One, because, for example, many people are forecasting higher oil demand for 2021 and beyond. Okay, so for example, OPEC revises up 2021 oil demand with more growth seen in the second quarter of 2021. Okay, so that's just one stat right there. Okay, very quick. Okay, the next piece of data is, of course, this is the 6-month trend of oil. All right, and again, we can see that it tends to go up. And what causes this increase? Well, one, speculation in the futures market, but two, an underlying increase and speculation of oil demand going up. Okay, so this somewhat reflects oil demand, and I mean, it seems like investors are bullish, and oil demand in general is going up. Okay, and third piece of good news, this is brought to you by The Morning Brew, which is a newsletter. So many people are getting vaccinated. Okay, so for example, in the US, the country hit a milestone of 100 million vaccine doses administered, and 13.5 of all US adults are fully vaccinated. All right, and this was the 7-day moving average of doses administered per day is 2.23 million, or a 9% bump over the week before. So as the vaccine rollout is happening at a faster pace, this means more people are getting vaccinated, and due to economies of scale, they're going to be able to increase the amount of people vaccinated per day. And internationally, more than 345 million doses have been administered across 121 countries, a 27% jump from last week. Okay, so this just shows you, with collaboration and with a lot of companies working together, a lot of people can be vaccinated. Okay, so that's like, a third of 1 billion people have been vaccinated. All right, so as this vaccine rollout continues, this will mean that cases will start decreasing, which we have already been seeing, okay? So this takes into account herd immunity, which basically means the more people that get the virus, the more that the people that are going to be immune from getting the virus, which protects other people who are susceptible to getting the virus, okay? And I mean, we can see this is the trend going over the year. And so if we can see last April, you know, cases were still rising, but here we can see a drastic decrease in the amount of cases. Okay, so I see this as a very positive news going forward, and as the cases continue to decline, we'll see the crux of it is of course cruises resuming. Okay, so here's the data. Cruises are generally going to resume in the summer. They're posting like about May 15th. Regular UK cruises are going to resume late September. So going into the summer of 2021 and beyond, you look at companies that to intake a lot of gas, okay, and jet fuel. So cruises, airlines, you know, these are gas intensive industries, and I don't see there being an electric plane anytime soon, okay, or an electric cruise ship anytime soon. So gas is going to go through the roof. And finally, the last piece is, of course, that as we're building the green infrastructure, we're going to need a lot of oil to build that infrastructure in the first place, which will place, of course, increased demand for oil for the time being, at which the prices of NAT frontline to transport that oil will increase quite drastically. At least that's my thesis. Okay, and all that combined, and finally, just one piece of sort of related note is that ships really do make the world go, okay, and they're a huge factor in transportation worldwide. Okay, so this is just a shipping company, and look how it's performed over the past year. Okay, so when the world stopped, the ships still go, okay, and this has received 144% just in the past year, okay, and this is Matson Shipping, and I don't own any shares of this company, but I'm just saying, you know, there is a thing to ships that make them pretty special, and I referred this link in one of my previous videos that I want to refer to a stat and give this a little bit of a listen, and I'll pause in about 15 seconds.
At a time when the world stopped, ships kept moving. People still shopped, ships kept on proving. The volume of trade that's moved by sea, 90% of trade, actually.
All right, so 90% of trade has moved by sea, and that's incredible. And again, I'll link this video in the description, and I think it's a really neat video that shows that, you know, ships are needed for transport, and they're, you know, not very efficient way of transporting, but they can transport bulk goods, okay? And oil is definitely one of them, and that's why I'm so bullish on NAT, okay, and Frontline and EURN, the oil tanker industry in general. All right, so that's all I have for my bullish thesis. Now we're going to move into the more technical side of things. So for NAT, we can see these are just the candlestick charts. This purple line is the 50-day moving average. This dividend right here of 2 cents is going to come, I think, on March 26th, I believe. And we can see right now that the stock price is trending above the 50-day moving average. And it's sort of seen as somewhat of a resistance level. It broke through it a couple of days ago, but finally it bounced off of the resistance level this past week, and then now it's moving upwards, okay? And we can see generally the trend in the MACD is also in the positive, which is a good sign, but it's also trending upwards, and again, it's above the signal, which again signals investor optimism. However, the RSI is quite high at 60. I mean, it's not above the overbought line, but it's trending near the overbought line at 60, whereas 20 is oversold and 80 is overbought. Those are the limits that I set. Okay, and I mean, we can see that it bounced off of around the $3 range here, once, kind of twice here, third time here, kind of fourth time here. So, you know, it seems like the price doesn't want to go under $3. So if you're waiting for a time to get into this stock, I mean, it might not go back down to $3, but it seems like around $3.10 is a pretty good price to get in, and you can kind of be sure that unless they mess up in a major way, NAT will tend to move upwards from $3. So that might be a good entry point, but again, you never know, it might not go back down towards $3, okay? And I'm holding for the long term. I'll be selling my NAT shares if this baby ever gets to around $5.50. And then I'll reassess from there, and I'll see if I want to sell, because I am down by about 40% right now. Frontline also has had a good week. If you can see the past 5 days, it's up by about 10%. And for the technicals here, again, same kind of deal here. It's above the 50-day moving average. And I would say the 50-day moving average has been a pretty good resistance level as of late. And the key supporter was around the $6 range. Okay, so here it hit like 580, 590, and then it was around $6, $6, and then it went back down to around like $5.40. So if you want to wait until the stock goes to, I don't know, around $6, that could be a pretty good move. Okay, but again, you're looking at the MACD and the indicators are looking pretty good. Again, this stock seems to be erring on the side of overbought territory, so you may want to wait for a pullback to get into front line. And finally, we have EURN, and it has been doing well in the past 5 days, although not by quite as much, by about 3.5%. And we can see here, of course, their 50-day moving average is also trending upwards, which is really nice. Their MACD is at about 0, but still positive, which is nice, and also trending upwards. And their RSI is the most fairest valuation of all at a 55. So I would say that's neither overbought nor oversold. Okay, so you might want to try to wait for a pullback, but I don't see this going, below like $8 anytime soon, although anything could happen. Okay, and it seems like around $8 is a pretty good resistance level. As we've seen, it's been tested once, it's been tested twice, it's been tested kind of 3 times here, 4, 5, and it kind of broke down past that when there was a lot of pessimism in the market in November. Okay, so that's basically all I have for you today, and I just want to talk about the DHT, although I haven't done technical analysis, but it's up by about 10% this week. Okay, so if you're investing in the oil market, now may be a good time to try to have a bit of an entry point. Who knows where it's going to go from here? Of course, I can't really predict where it's going to go, but I do think that there's a lot of strong tailwinds in the market, and even another general one being is the movement of money from these high-flying tech stocks into more value plays, and one could consider oil tankers to be a more value play type index. Okay, so these are just some insights that I thought I'd share with you. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. As always, please be sure to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. As well, there's a couple links down below that you can check out to a Wealthsimple referral link where you can get $10 off for your next trade if you're Canadian, as well as my Instagram, TikTok, etc. if you want to follow me on social media. But I always appreciate a comment and a like to trip up the YouTube algo as always. And again, love you all, take care, and I hope you guys enjoy.